Here's something that might surprise you. Imagine a NATO country that has already agreed to buy 88 F-35 fighter jets, costing billions of dollars. The plan is approved, allies are on board, and the American company is ready to deliver. Everything seems settled. Then, suddenly, a Nordic country that recently joined NATO steps in, not just to sell fighter jets, but to offer a deal that could change how North America handles its defense. That country is Canada, and the new proposal is coming from Sweden. Sweden's offer has made Washington uneasy, pushed Ottawa to rethink its options, and caught the attention of defense experts around the world. This is not just about buying aircraft anymore. It's about independence, alliances, and whether a small or mid-sized country can reduce its reliance on a military superpower.
So the big question is simple. Will Canada stick with the safer American option or start a new partnership with Stockholm? So what did Sweden actually propose? This is not a normal aircraft sale. Saab, the Swedish defense company, isn't just offering to sell fighter jets. Saab is proposing to build the Gripen E fighter jet inside Canada. That means the assembly line, maintenance work, and future upgrades would all happen on Canadian soil. In simple terms, Canada would be in control. No need to wait for parts from the United States. No need to ask for approval from Washington.
No risk of supply delays if political relations ever change. And there's more. Saab is also offering to manufacture the globalized surveillance aircraft in Canada. This system is designed to watch large areas and track threats, something many experts say is extremely important for protecting the Arctic. If this deal goes ahead, Canada wouldn't just be buying jets, it would become the main manufacturing and maintenance center for the Gripen across the entire Western Hemisphere. That's why this proposal is sending shockwaves far beyond Canada.
The job impact is significant. The deal could create 12,600 jobs in Canada, about 9,000 from the Gripen program and 3,600 from the GlobalEye program. These would be high-tech, long-term jobs with stable pay, and they would not depend on decisions made in another country. Sweden's plan goes beyond selling jets. With a factory in Canada, Saab could produce 150 to 200 Gripen fighter jets, not only for Canada, but also for Ukraine, other NATO allies, and export markets. This would turn Canada from a customer into a strategic industrial partner, a shift that makes Washington uneasy. Sweden, after joining NATO and ending 200 years of neutrality, needs a strong partner outside Europe. Canada is a natural choice because of its vast land, Arctic conditions, and need for low-cost, high-performance aircraft. The Gripen E is built for these conditions. It can operate from frozen highways, needs only 500 meters of runway, and can launch within 10 minutes. By comparison, the F-35 requires far more complex infrastructure. The war in Ukraine adds urgency. Ukraine may order up to 150 jets, but Saab's Swedish factories cannot meet demand alone. A Canadian factory could double production. Canada has only confirmed 16 of the planned 88 F-35s, leaving 72 still undecided. If Canada splits its fleet between the F-35 and Gripen, it could affect NORAD and reshape North American air defense. That's why this decision goes far beyond choosing a fighter jet. Running two different fighter jets means two maintenance systems, two supply chains, and two technical standards. That can make joint combat operations harder and more expensive. The U.S. ambassador to Canada has already warned about these risks. But Washington's bigger fear is the domino effect. If Canada, a close ally and founding member of NATO, decides to move away from the F-35, other countries could follow. Nations like the Netherlands, Denmark, Belgium, Finland, and Spain are already unhappy with the F-35's high costs and low readiness rates. If Canada proves a mixed or alternative fleet can work, more allies may start questioning full dependence on U.S. technology, something the Pentagon strongly wants to avoid. Cost is where the Gripen E really stands out. The Gripen costs about $5,800 per flight hour, compared to roughly $35,000 for the F-35, a massive saving. The purchase price is also lower. Over thousands of flight hours each year, this difference becomes enormous. On the technology side, the Gripen E has advanced sensors, strong electronic warfare systems, and can use the Meteor missile, which gives it an advantage in long-range air combat. Many analysts believe this makes the Gripen a serious threat even to stealth aircraft.
Its biggest strength, however, is flexibility. The Gripen can take off from frozen highways, use runways as short as 500 meters, launch within 10 minutes from a cold start. For Canada, with vast Arctic areas and little military infrastructure, this is a major advantage. Message: NATO countries don't have to rely entirely on American systems, and Sweden, NATO's newest member, would prove that Europe can offer strong, independent defense solutions without control from Washington.
This move could encourage more diversity in NATO weapons purchases, reducing reliance on just one supplier. In the Arctic, the Gripen E is designed for cold, harsh environments. Its ability to operate in freezing temperatures, use short runways, and rely on strong electronic warfare makes it well suited for air defense missions, especially as Russia increases its military activity in the region. If Canada deploys the Gripen there, the strategic balance in the Arctic could shift. China is also watching closely.
Beijing wants to show that U.S. military dominance is weakening. If Canada, a close U.S. ally, moves away from the F-35, it sends a signal that even American partners are looking for alternatives. That could influence countries in Asia and the Middle East to rethink buying U.S. weapons. Trade tensions add another layer. Prime Minister Mark Carney has called for a review of the F-35 deal during rising tensions with the U.S., including tariff threats and aggressive political rhetoric from Donald Trump. Industry Minister Melanie Joly has also said Canada is not getting enough industrial benefits from the F-35 program.
This raises a key question. Could a fighter jet decision become a trade bargaining tool? Not everyone agrees with choosing the Gripen. 12 former senior Royal Canadian Air Force officers, including former Chief of Defense Staff Tom Lawson, signed an open letter strongly opposing the idea. They argue Canada should buy all 88 F-35s as originally planned. Lawson warned that the F-35 is far more capable and that any savings from a second fleet would disappear in real combat. They also worry about shortages of pilots and technicians. Running 2 different aircraft types would mean 2 training systems, 2 supply chains, and 2 maintenance programs, raising serious questions about whether Canada has the resources to manage it effectively. Pressure is now coming from military leaders, industry, and global allies, making Canada's decision more complex than ever. Industry pressure is growing. L3 Harris warns that if Canada does not buy all 88 F-35s, about 1,600 jobs across the supply chain could be lost. At its core, this decision is about 2 futures. The F-35 means deep integration with NATO and NORAD, but high costs and long-term dependence. The Gripen E offers sovereignty and industrial control, but with risks to compatibility and future technology. Prime Minister Mark Carney has yet to decide. What Canada chooses won't just shape its air force, it could reshape alliances. So the question remains, security or independence? Which matters more? Like, subscribe, and thanks for watching.